Home is where you should feel safe and protected. Hope's Door, that's who you call if you're not. For 40 years, our hotline has been the gateway to all of our services: emergency shelter, counseling, support groups, youth prevention, legal services, and Next Step, which helps survivors launch into the workforce. The pandemic has created even greater challenges for victims seeking safety, isolated at home with their abusers without a moment, not a moment of privacy to place a safe phone call. But now calls to our hotline are escalating at an enormous rate, up 74% in the first quarter.
We have a client, Lisa, whose ability to call for help in an increasingly dangerous situation was delayed by 7 days because she could not safely place a call to our hotline. When Lisa called our hotline, she emphasized she could only be contacted between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Connecting with Lisa during these times also proved very challenging. If we had had text and chat, we would have been able to provide immediate safety planning, gotten Lisa and her children to shelter, and begun the process of securing an order of protection 7 days sooner.
Please don't think this is merely a request for enhanced technology. It's so much more than that. The bulk of our request is for staffing to use the technology to support victims. Imagine you're a shelter worker working nights or perhaps a 12-hour weekend shift. You support up to 19 traumatized shelter residents, any or all of whom may need your help. But since you're working alone during those hours, you are forced to choose between crisis intervention for them and a hotline call from a victim who may be hiding in a closet just to make the call. It would be so helpful to have 2 people on staff so that residents and callers in crisis could get the immediate help they need.
You may have questions about sustainability. I'd like to share with you that the Avon Foundation funded our Economic Empowerment Program in its first 2 years, 2014 and 2015. For the past 6 years, the program has grown, thanks to new support. We now provide survivors with sponsorship for educational and vocational classes, childcare, and many other needs. Our support helps survivors overcome barriers to employment and to find ways to support themselves and their families.
Our teen dating abuse program, Love Shouldn't Hurt, is another great example of our ability to sustain and grow our programs long after initial funding ends. In 2002, the Westchester Community Foundation provided $15,000 in seed money for Love Shouldn't Hurt, renewed in 2003 and 2004. From a half-time person during our pilot, we now have 3 full-time staff helping to inform and keep your children, the children of Westchester, safe through this program. We've increased the number of young people served annually from 260 in year 1 to more than 9,000 young people last year. We're in 17 school districts, and most recently we're asked to lead Love Shouldn't Hurt at a summer camp in Peekskill.
Text and chat's not only safer for victims than placing a phone call that may be overheard, it's also the primary form of communication for young people. With Hotline Plus, which adds technology enhancements and the staff to monitor them, we'll increase our availability to victims, reach more young people, reduce suffering, and save lives. Never again will a shelter worker on a shift by themselves have to choose between meeting the needs of 19 residents and answering a call from a victim in danger. In closing, let us share with you the words of our survivors.
When I left court, I had more than my order of protection. I went home with my dignity and my confidence restored. Hope's Door had built a protective fence around me and my family. It was the first time in months that I could breathe.
I lived with abuse for 7 years before I found the courage to call the hotline at Hope's Door. We just couldn't live like that anymore.
Hope's Door has given me the courage and hope I never had before, and has helped me become the woman I was meant to be. Strong, courageous, and most of all, free.
Thank you, Impact 100.